He's frying fish in there. He's gone fucking mental. Honestly, he's put the portable gas stove on a chair and he thinks he's gonna fry fish on it. Watch, I'm not even gonna warn him. Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome back to Sunday Sessions. Today we are making buta no kakuni, which is Japanese braised pork belly. So to start off with, we're gonna make a dashi. Dashi is just a savory liquid to give you umami. So there's bonito flakes, there's smoked fish, and it's basically flavoring water to then flavor whatever it is you're making, whether it be a miso soup or in this case braised pork belly. So I'm not making a dashi from scratch because I couldn't get the kombu and stuff. So conveniently in my local Chinese supermarket, they sell these, which are dashi tea bags, right? 2 tea bags, 1.2 litres of cold water, in they go. We're gonna bring that up to the boil. We're gonna steep it like a tea. When it comes to the boil, we're gonna fish them out. Fish, pun. So while that happens, I'm just gonna start prepping this beautiful pork belly. This is like, when I have pork belly, I want it to be rigid and stiff, right? I know this is a heavy fat content, but I know this is from a Great Pig, this is from a Tamworth. I don't like it when you see pig bellies that are all like flimsy and full of water. This is a proper bit of pork, right? So what we need to do, is I'm just gonna take the rind off, trying not to lose any of it. So I'm pointing my knife upwards as I do it. Long strokes, using the whole length of the knife. Off it comes. That's our pork rind. That won't break down, it won't braise, won't do much. Staying close, as close to the skin as possible, and the fat will render. I just don't want to lose a whole load of it. So out it comes. This part of our pork belly is fatter than the lower end. This has got more meat, right? But we want all of our things to braise at the same time. We want all of our pork to cook at the same time. So we need to make sure that we're doing the same amounts. We want all of our pork to be uniform. Obviously we've got fatter bits here and skinnier bits here. So the fatter bits, we're gonna go more of a square shape, like so. And then the lower end, I'm gonna go more rectangular, just so that I know they're gonna cook at the same time. Trim off this corner. And we want to work with like straight lines, making sure that they're, look at that, that's all gonna render. The fat's gonna cook out, there's gonna be delicious, soft pork belly afterwards. Now, I'm gonna warn you now, this recipe takes 3 hours, yeah? But we're doing very little work. We're making the dashi to poach it in, and then we've got to do a few things with some water and some flavouring bits. That is it, right? Our dashi is slowly coming up to the boil, right? So you can see it, the tea bags have released, they're letting out all their juices. What we want to do is fish out these tea bags. I want to give it one final press. Make sure we've got all of the flavour out. I'm going to set the dashi to one side. And by one side, I mean down here. Hopefully the dog doesn't lick it. Now, in a frying pan, I don't have any oil, but what I am gonna do is I'm gonna take off some of this excess pork fat. And just let it render in this frying pan. You can see that the fat's now coated the bottom of this pan. Just gonna render it out and get the process going. Plenty of fat. Leave that bit in there. So we're just gonna season our pork belly with salt on all sides and just roll it so that every side has got salt on, like so. And then these bits of pork can go into this pan, and we want to give them a seal, nice and golden. Just so that we're locking in flavour now. And the caramelisation now, oh shit, the caramelisation now is going to give us a depth on this braisers. Proper seal on it, lock in all the flavour. When you've sealed them off on every side, we're going to pull them out. Dashi comes back, and into our dashi, we're going to slice up just over a thumb piece of ginger. I'm not peeling it, don't bother. 1, 2, that's the ginger, and then I've got 4 spring onions. Take the tops off for garnish, split them down the middle. Take the roots end off, and then we're going to plonk spring onions in, our ginger in, and our bits of pork belly. We're going to let that come up to the boil. Once it's come up to the boil, we need to make sure that all the ingredients are submerged in the water. This is just for cooking times and making sure that everything cooks uniformly. We don't want one bit of pork belly floating, another bit touching the bottom of the pan, and then it's all uneven. So wait for it to come up to the boil, and you'll find that when it starts to come up to the boil, we're gonna have a layer of fat on our water that we need to skim. Now, the more we skim now, the less we have to skim at the end. But if you can't skim, or you've never skimmed before, at the end of this recipe, Butternut kukuni is either served cold or hot. If you want to go cold with it, you put it in the fridge, and when it solidifies, all the fat sits on the top and you've got a clean broth underneath it. If we're going to go hot with it and 4 hours later you want to eat it straight away, then you have to skim the fat off the top as much as possible. Knowledge. As you can hear, there's frying in the background and we're steaming, but Camille's decided that he's going to have his own Sunday session with a whole load of meat that's on its last day of sale by from Morrison's. What have you got? What have you got?
White salmon, lemon sauce.
That's not my fish, is it?
No, I didn't take your fish.
Okay, cool. Right, so, look, dashi, pork, it's all come up to the boil. We're going to drop it to a gentle simmer, like that, just ticking away, and then we're going to make sure that everything remains submerged. Those bits of ginger doesn't matter. As long as the pork belly sits under the waterline, we're all right, yeah? So, this now needs to slowly blip and fucking boil away for 2 hours, yeah? 2 hours. Set a timer, nothing's gonna happen, the water won't drop, just fucking let it simmer. We're gonna simmer the pork belly until it's nice and like pullable, but we're not gonna pull it, yeah? 2 hours, go do your thing, read the paper, walk the dog, do what you need to do. 2 hours. I can't show you every step of this recipe because basically I've done a swap-in and I've not done stages. So imagine now 2 hours has passed. I'm coming back. we're gonna play imagination station, yeah? Imagine this has now been braising for 2 hours. It's been about an hour. I'm showing you what the next step is. So, what you're gonna do is you're gonna remove your plate and you're gonna remove your porky goodness, yeah? Now, your pork will be softer than mine. This has only been an hour, so it's only halfway through. And what you need to do is strain your dashi and pork liquid and measure out 600 milliliters, yeah? So, I'm gonna pour my 600 milliliters into here. We're then gonna go 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, a whole bottle of cooking sake. Now this is 150 ml. If you can't get this brand, you just want to use 150 ml of cooking sake. In like that. 2 tablespoons of mirin. And then somewhere knocking about here, I have 2 tablespoons of everyday white caster sugar. In that goes. Then your pork goes back into this. You're gonna have more liquid than I am. Your pork's gonna go back in, yeah? No ginger, no spring onion. Pork goes back in. Your plate goes back on top so that all the pork is submerged in the juice. You're gonna braise this now for an hour, right? Now, I'm gonna show you what mine looks like after an hour. So, 3 long hours later, you're gonna end up with this fucking beautiful, look at this, are you ready? Oh. Butanokakuni, slow braised Japanese pork belly. Now, look, falling apart, tender as fuck. So, what I've done is I've braised that for an hour, taken my pork out, tasted my sauce, and I've reduced it by like half, yeah, not loads. You don't want a syrup, you still want it to be saucy. So traditionally they're served with like soy stained eggs or people poach daikon in it. I just wanted to show you the basic of how you'd order it in a restaurant and how it'd come. So I'm just gonna do one little bit of garnish. So here I've just got some spring onion that I've cut really fine. And then all I'm gonna do to serve it, right, is I've got this beautiful bowl. I'll take my pork belly. It's like falling apart, sticky, and gelatinous. It's fully rendered out. You see the bits where the bits of fat were? That's all cooked out. Got a nice beautiful bit on top. Like that. I'm gonna take some of this serving juice over the top. Like so. And plonk on some spring onion. Bear with me, I know this is fucking English mustard, but I just want to put like a dab of English mustard on the side of the plate. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is butter no kokuni. Soy braised Japanese pork belly. And I'm fucking happy. It's making me salivate. It looks delicious. Make some rice, eat it as is. Do what you fucking want with it. You can use Japanese mustard or wasabi. I couldn't get any, so I just went straight English Coleman's. But do you know what it is? It's traditionally served with like eggs or pickled daikon, and I just wanted to show you the bare basic. I'm gonna take a little plonk of this mustard. Make sure I got some sauce. Oh, I was about to lick that off my finger, fucking hell. Like, saltiness from soy, like background umami from dashi. It's just fucking great. Mirin and sugar bring up the sweetness. Like, When I mean tender, look at this. Tender as fuck, bro. As fuck. And yeah, a little tea stained egg would have been nice, a soy egg or some radish, but do what you want with it. Put it into bao buns, eat it over rice, eat it like me with a fucking spoon. Wilt some spinach. But I'm telling you, if you make this and get it right, you're gonna be like, yes, that took a long fucking time, but this, it's almost like Japanese Sunday roasty vibes. It's got like fucking delicious rich gravy. There's offsets of like fucking spring onion and fierceness from mustard. And then just delicious, fatty, gelatinous pork belly. Trust me, man. It's even great cold. When you get it in a Japanese restaurant cold, fucking great. I'm not gonna lie, that fucking bangs. Fucking phenomenal. I'm gonna do a Greg Wallace. You wanna see a Greg Wallace? What? Oh! Core! That's what it's gonna make you do. Yes, 3 hours is a long time, but you've literally done fuck all. You flavoured water, you cut some pork, you cut a spring onion and a piece of ginger. That's it. That's all you've done. And you've ended up with this fucking phenomenal fucking, oh. I'm a little bit lost for words. I just really enjoy it. I really like it. It's one of my favourite Japanese things. And yeah, man. I've been Big Hass. He's been George. That's a wrap. Sun's down. We're going home. I'm home. George is going home. I'm going to walk the dog. Make this, bro. But I promise you, bros and brosettes, make this. Do your thing. Happy Sunday. Big up you in it.
Oh no.
Just put it in your mouth. I need the spoon back. Nice? Nice?
One more.
Good. Camera said it was the bomb.
Chop House Films.
Can you say films?
Film.
Films.
Films.